Okay, it is the Donovan Sadiq Show, and my name is Donovan Sadiq, and this is my show. And we're going to talk about a few things that have happened over the last couple of days as the city of Moreno Valley has been deciding if they are going to appoint or are they going to a special election when it comes to the vacant seat by Idiot Gutierrez, who, after being illegally appointed, removed, ran for office, and said that if he is elected, he would serve a full 4-year term, which he has not done yet. So now he has been elected mayor, which makes you wonder why people think Moreno Valley is a joke. We have criminals on our city council. We have people that have just sold their souls, and they just keep getting elected. Not because they're good candidates, it's because they have a benefactor that has deep pockets. And obviously, when a millionaire comes into a community and buys people, there's an agenda. And a lot of us can see the agenda, but then again, there are a lot of people that just, jobs! We just want jobs! How many years are we going to be in the desert? These so-called jobs have not come yet, and they're not going to come for another 25 years. So if you're looking for a job right now, you're not going to find it. Not here. So you're either going to move away from here because you can't afford the cost of living to live in California. You're going to move to Texas, back east somewhere, and you're going to take your kids with you, and that's going to be the end of it. And then what's going to happen to Moreno Valley is the same thing that's going to happen, that has happened to the city of Industry, the city of Stockton, all these bombed out cities that used and abused with no forward thinking council and city staff. And that's what's going to happen in Moreno Valley, unfortunately. So a lot of stuff's going on. I watched it, but there's a lot of other things that I've been involved in my community. I have to deal with a council person that was recalled and is now back. And she has an axe to grind. Not only with myself, but I'm very sure with other people. But you know what? We're going to see what she can do, because she knows, as well as everybody else knows, she's being watched. And the rumor mill, and I heard it today as I was walking around, and the rumor mill is they want to start a recall. They're going to start a recall on Victoria Baca. Let's start a recall on Victoria Baca. Stupid, stupid, stupid idea. You'll say, well, why do you say it's a stupid idea? No, that's true. Eventually, she is going to do something stupid to be recalled. But, ask yourself this. If she is, or a recall is initiated, who are you going to have as acceptable to replace her? You did a recall and replaced this lady with a bank robber that only enabled her to come back 2 years later as a victim. So it's not this person. And, the funny thing is I'm talking to this person is her, Victoria Baca, they all were friends. They all were here, 20-something years ago together. And they keep recalling each other. I mean, and to me, it's lunacy as I'm looking at these people like, are you serious? And then she goes, well, Donovan, if a recall happens, then you can run. What the hell makes you think that I'm interested in running? I definitely would not want a seat on a recalled candidate that has already been recalled and is now back. I am out of politics as in regards for candidacy. Unless you have a clear-cut, legitimate reason to recall this lady, you're stuck. And this is what we do. So here it is, and there it is. And to recall her, to put back in LaDonna Jimson, that would be ridiculous. That would be totally stupid. What is this? The WWE, where the champion drops the belt, and the next week the challenger gets the belt, and then the next week he enacts his rematch clause, and then the champion gets the belt again. What are we doing here? Where is the strategic planning? Where is leadership? So for all of you out there listening that think that, we're going to initiate a recall, you better think this stuff out. Yes, you can recall anybody. You can recall somebody for a ham sandwich right now. That's not the issue. You have to come up with a candidate that would be acceptable to the majority of the people that would vote for that candidate. And we don't have that in this district. Now, if you're asking me, going to LaDonna Jimson, wrong answer. Going to myself, wrong answer. Not that I couldn't do the job. That's not what I'm saying. I'm too old to do the job. We need, as I've always said, I'm putting my district and my city before myself. We need new, young blood. Edgar Garcia is a name I want you to remember. Jerry Mercado is another name. These two people ran in the last election. They were my opponent. They got significant amount of votes. The sad thing is now you have two qualified, and it's about time we have two qualified candidates that challenge for this seat. So, number one, you better make sure that one of these two gentlemen, if not both of them, would be willing to run in a recall election. And then what is that? And then what is the base for the recall election? Because you don't like her? So this is the kind of political machines that we deal with. The Ray Ayers idea, the Radine Ayers, the Nancy Pelosi of Moreno Valley, lost almost every candidate has lost. The Press Enterprise, almost every candidate they endorsed lost. This is what we're dealing with. That's the Democratic Party for you. That's where the Democratic Party is going. All these, I marched with Martin Luther King. People have to realize, just because somebody looks like you, they might have the same color skin as you, they might even talk like you, doesn't mean that they are for you. A lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of stuff. Let's talk about the animal shelter. Victoria Baca is back. Now, the question that I and a lot of people, Laura Medeiros, and a lot of us people out there that have been fighting for this animal shelter want to know is, what are you going to do? This issue has been put on the back burner. LaDonna Jimson always talks about what she's going to do. But again, she has no concrete achievements in 2 years of sitting on that council. So I am going to move this agenda forward. I want to know in District 1, as a resident, what is the sitting council person going to do about the killing in the animal shelter? And will they be willing to put a moratorium on it so that we can solve this problem and save these animals' lives? It just doesn't make sense. What is going on in that animal shelter? So that's my challenge, number one, to Victoria Baca. So let's talk about that. Cost adoption. We're doing everything we possibly can. But what the city doesn't understand when it comes to that animal shelter is the problem that people do not like is the killing. We want the killing to stop. And all it takes is one council member of the district that this animal shelter resides in to say, stop the killing and give us a reasonable reason why you're doing it. I don't want to hear, well, if we don't kill them, then the animal shelter gets overburdened. Well, if the animal shelter checks out full, then stop intaking. Just stop intaking. And then if it's over full, check with the other animal shelters in the other cities and the other counties. What's the problem here? But they got these excuses. There is obviously financial gain to continue to kill because nobody else is doing it. And if you want to know some information on that, check out Laura Medeiros' Facebook page, Laura Medeiros, and she has a Spreaker, SPREAER account where she is talking about what actually was happening in that animal shelter when she worked there and volunteered there. Now, this lady has a lot of experience, and she has spent thousands of dollars of her own personal money and saved thousands of animals. But unfortunately, it is not enough. So we need to get the right person involved in that shelter. And one of my agendas was to put a moratorium on that shelter and then clean house. Number one, you can't go in a different direction using the same exact people. Do you see Donald Trump using Obama's appointments? No. Every new administration brings in their own people that are going to look out for them and do their bidding. So one of my things that I was going to do was I was going to clean house in the animal shelter, and I didn't care what it cost. Stop telling us about the cost. Moreno Valley has a lot of money. If it didn't, 12 department heads come from Orange County to work here. They commute to work here. And if you know anything about Orange County, a lot of them come from Laguna Niguel, and they're nice people. I'm not like hating on these people. They need to make a living. But the point is, they wouldn't be out here if the money wasn't that good. And the money is a six-figure salary. So 12 department heads, only one of them lives in the city, and that's the fire chief. So what does that tell you? Moreno Valley has money. The honest answer is Moreno Valley doesn't have money for its residents. That's what they don't want to tell you. Everything goes to the developer, Ito Benvizi, and he's not even a resident of Moreno Valley. And that's what kills me when all these people think that this guy is a big savior. And I'm not an Ito Benvizi basher, okay? He's not a friend of mine, okay? But he is a good friend of mine. And he's a businessman, and he's doing what he got to do. And I can respect that. But at the same time, I live here. So I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that he doesn't make a dollar off of me. And so far, he's doing a very good job of making me pay for his projects. And I'm going to put a stop to it. And I am not going to stop until I can't do it anymore. So, but today we have the Hot Seat Coming Up radio show. Mighty Max is going to be on the show today. And she is actually just graduated ASU degree in communications. So let's give a handout and a shout out to Mighty Max, because it takes a lot nowadays to complete your degree and do that in today's climate of people needing jobs and having to work. And I call that the matrix. Unfortunately, I've out of the matrix, and I can see what other people don't see. And it's going to be interesting. So as I'm out and about, I ran into Raymond Sawyer, and he is the president of the HOA in the 4th District. And his name has been mentioned as an appointee to take the District 4 seat. Now, people have asked me, well, how do you feel about Raymond Sawyer being appointed? Well, I don't feel anything. That's not my district. That's not my issue. I have to deal with what I have to deal with. And that's another problem. People have to start staying in their lanes. If people would start worrying about their area and take care of their area, then maybe the city would be a lot better along. Victoria does a lot for the district. Unfortunately, it's not our district. She does it for the 3rd District and what Ito Benvizi tells her to do. So, so I don't have any problem with Raymond Sawyer being appointed if he goes through the process, whatever that process is. And, I was walking, he recognized me, and, it's my first time actually meeting him in person. And I have a lot of Nigerian friends and African friends. So, the accents all, to me, they're all similar, So he calls me out, and I recognize him from pictures, but I've never formally met him. Really nice guy, very handsome. Looks like a football player, looks like he could be a linebacker or something like that. He reminds me of, those big African guys, like Christian Okoye and all those guys like that. But a really nice man. I do wish him luck if he does pursue that. That's, maybe something he wants to do. I don't know. So good luck to Raymond Sawyer. We're going to talk about that on the hot seat later on the day. So just stay tuned. I wanted to, talk to you guys real quick and see what's happening. We have a lot of stuff coming up in the new year, so be prepared, because we are going to go back to the video format. Now, Donovan has nothing to lose. So the Donovan Sadiq Show, we have nothing to lose. And I want to congratulate again Eloise Reyes for her win against Chevron Cheryl Brown. And I am very glad that I was instrumental in helping her do that. And when I talked to some of the African Americans in that area and they listened to my radio show, they were shocked and surprised that Cheryl Brown would do that. And now she's tainted her newspaper, her legacy, and she's done. And I'm also very proud of the fact that I helped defeat Denise Fleming. And I'm going to tell you guys this. Never, ever underestimate anybody in anything, especially if it's something that you want. Denise Fleming's problem, instead of coming to me and bowing down, if that's what she had to do, and say, Donovan, I'm sorry for whatever I said or whatever I had to do. Could you please come on board and support me or whatever? No, she couldn't do that. And I showed that she was an unethical candidate. She had unethical people. She ran a Chicago-type daily family campaign where she's saying one thing and then she's doing another. She wasn't down for black people, because if she was down for black people, she would have never told me or any other black person we're unelectable. Okay. And, she was the first to talk about, oh, Mr. Benfizi, I can't wait to work with you. Get on your knees, Denise. Get on your knees. Because that's exactly what you were doing. Cooning. We call it cooning in our community. And she was cooning. Now, Donovan doesn't coon for nobody. And she was running for mayor, running in different things. There was no reason for me to have to expose her the way that I did. But until I received a phone call from her, I was going to continue to do it and show you guys what kind of a candidate this was. And I want you to also realize, if you look at those vote numbers, she received a significant amount of votes because the election was rigged. I don't know how they did it, but there were more votes than there were people registered to vote. And because she was willing to get on her knees and do whatever she has to do for Highland Fairview, they swung some votes toward her for her reward and hoping that just in case she would win. Just in case. So if Gutierrez didn't make it, she came in a second and then she knew what she had to do. Bend over, get on your knees and do what you got to do, Denise, because that's what you were willing to do. Instead of having some integrity and standing up for what's right, you wouldn't do that. I mean, you're using pastors and saying that they endorse you when that wasn't the fact. I mean, your whole game was biased. And, I'm just glad you, LaDonna Jimson, Radine Ayers, all you fakeness with your bad weave and your big tight red dress, I'm glad you guys are all gone. Because you guys are fake. You guys are not the leaders we need and the representatives we need here in Moreno Valley. And we're going to leave it right there because we're going to get ready to start our show. And we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bell, sit. Coming. Hey. Bell, sit down. Don't you jump on nobody. Bell.
Waiting for the bugs on the track.
Doctor then told me back on the 29th.
I told you to come back on the 20th. Oh, jeez. Wow. Oh, that's